On the morning of June 18, 2023, 5 people stepped into a small, experimental vessel, beginning a 2-hour plunge into the Atlantic Ocean's darkness. Each had paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to see the wreck of the Titanic firsthand. This depth scale charts their path. The destination lay 3,810 meters below the surface, requiring them to pass the limits of recreational scuba diving, cut through the twilight zone where sunlight dies, and descend into the pitch-black midnight zone at the ocean floor. The vessel carrying them was the Titan. It was a narrow, uncertified deep-sea craft with a passenger capacity of exactly 5 people. Standard submarines have the power to launch and return to port on their own. The Titan, however, was a submersible. It relied entirely on a surface support ship, the Polar Prince, to launch it, guide it, and control the entire operation from the water's surface. Inside, the Titan offered the space of a minivan. There were no seats, no GPS navigation, and only a single small viewport to the outside world. The pilot operated the vessel using a modified video game controller. Communication relied entirely on a text message system, pinging the surface ship exactly every 15 minutes. At 1 hour and 45 minutes into the dive, those pings stopped. The text link severed. Without a signal, the support ship had no way to track the vessel. The passengers were trapped in a silent, freezing void, entirely cut off from the surface. The Titan carried exactly 96 hours of oxygen. When the communication dropped, a multinational rescue operation quickly mobilized, battling a strict 4-day countdown to find the crew alive. This map illustrates the logistical nightmare rescue teams faced. The search grid covered 25,000 square kilometers, an area 7 times the size of the state of Goa. Finding a minivan-sized object in that vastness was nearly impossible. And the design of the submersible introduced a terrifying constraint. The single entry hatch was secured from the outside with 17 heavy bolts. There was no internal mechanism to open the door. Even if the Titan had successfully dropped its ballast, aborted the dive, and floated back to the surface on its own, the passengers would be entirely locked in. They would suffocate just inches away from fresh air. On the 4th day of the search, remotely operated vehicles scouring the ocean floor discovered a debris field. It lay roughly 490 meters from the bow of the Titanic. The debris confirmed the vessel's fate. The Titan hadn't lost power, and it hadn't become snagged on the wreckage. It had been destroyed instantly. This graphic shows the difference. A bomb explosion violently pushes outward. The Titan suffered a catastrophic implosion, extreme external forces crushing inward. At 12,500 feet down, water pressure is 400 times the force at sea level. When the hull compromised under that weight, the surrounding ocean collapsed the vessel in a fraction of a millisecond. The event occurred faster than the human brain can process pain or even register that something went wrong. The deep ocean demands perfection. Physics at that depth leaves zero margin for error. Structural integrity is an absolute, instantaneous barrier between life and death. Here is why the Titan failed. Proven deep-sea vehicles use a titanium sphere to distribute extreme pressure evenly. The Titan used an elongated cylindrical tube. While the end caps were titanium, the main body was constructed of carbon fiber. Submersibles are typically made of steel or titanium because those metals behave predictably under the repetitive stress of deep dives. Carbon fiber is incredibly strong, but it had never been tested for the crushing, cyclic pressure of repeated trips to the ocean floor. Following the disaster, seasoned ocean explorers and experts, including director James Cameron, who has completed numerous deep-sea expeditions, condemned the design. They noted that the titanium caps survived intact, while the experimental carbon fiber shattered into pieces. The submersible did not succumb to bad luck. The creators deliberately chose to use an untested material in an environment known to be lethal to anything short of perfection. The man responsible for that design choice was OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush, an aerospace engineer by trade. Rush openly believed that established marine safety regulations were unnecessary hurdles. He viewed the strict certification processes of the deep-sea exploration industry as barriers to commercial innovation. In his own words, he stated, "At some point, safety just is pure waste." He later bragged about his materials, saying, "I've broken some rules to make this. I think I've broken them with logic and good engineering. He received multiple warnings long before the final dive. In 2018, OceanGate's own director of marine operations raised severe safety concerns about the Titan and requested a formal safety assessment. The company refused, and the employee was dragged into a legal battle. That same year, 36 distinct deep-sea experts, oceanographers, and industry leaders sent Rush a collective letter. They explicitly warned him that his experimental approach, devoid of standard quality checks, would inevitably result in a terrible accident. He ignored them all. The implosion at the bottom of the Atlantic was the predictable conclusion of a corporate culture that systematically silenced experts to cut corners. The location of the wreck offers a glaring historical parallel. Stockton Rush commercialized a gravesite defined by the fatal consequences of engineering arrogance, only to repeat those exact mistakes. In his race to reach the ocean floor, Rush had routinely assured passengers and the public of the Titan's invulnerability. He echoed the exact phrase used by the creators of the ship he was exploiting. He called it unsinkable. Rush now occupies a specific place in history. His name joins a grim list of inventors who were killed by the failures of their own creations. Extreme environments do not care about commercial innovation. Marine safety regulations exist because people have died without them. Treating those rules as an obstacle is a guaranteed path to disaster.